Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Coming from Australia, that's a bit of a weird thing, I guess, because it's not really celebrated much in Australia. Although it's there more than it used to be, though.
Absolutely. I think it continuously grows because a lot of people like dressing up for the Halloween part because it's fun.
Yeah, and there's also like a lot of public places like clubs and stuff like that. They sort of get into the whole Halloween thing, like gigs as well. You know, they sort of build a theme around it. But essentially, I think what a lot of the pushback against Halloween is because they feel it's an American holiday.
Yeah.
And I always point out to them and correct them on that and say it's not an American holiday. It's not even a holiday in America.
Yeah.
It's a day to celebrate, much like St. Patrick's Day or whatever, you know. But it's not a holiday. In fact, it's not even American.
Yeah.
People sort of get that wrong. And Halloween actually started in somewhere in Europe. It's a Celtic holiday, essentially.
Pagan.
Yeah, Irish, some Scots, sort of like with a. It's sort of it's a bit blurry as to who exactly started it, but it's basically a it ties into like the festival season with crops and stuff like that. This is like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago or whatever. But I believe the Irish is really the ones that sort of took it and became, you know, it wasn't even pumpkins initially. It was like, I think it was onions or whatever or something like that. I forget.
Potatoes.
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 But yeah, so that's what it is. It's called Samhain. I don't know, I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's like that. Day of the Dead in Mexico, like it's got so many different names, and then Halloween just sort of became a thing, like Hallows Eve became a thing, and then Halloween. Now, granted, the US did take it and kind of popularized it and marketed it in a way much like, you know, Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's, but it's still not an American holiday.
No.
So let's just get that out the way. And then now, Halloween is my favorite holiday. I like stuff Christmas and Easter and all that stuff. I just love Halloween because I'm a big horror fan. Love horror stuff. Always have since I was a kid. I grew up on 80s horror movies like Freddy Krueger, Friday the 13th, you know, all that kind of stuff. So so the Halloween thing sort of was just a natural sort of thing to get into, you know. And so every year I throw a Halloween bash, and you've been almost every year, I think, you know.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I just decked the whole house out and like just full on, you know. This year I got some really big exterior stuff out in the front, like it's going to just annoy the fuck out of neighbors and stuff. Like flashing lights and just big, humongous, blow up stuff. And,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's not even about the party and the stuff. It's just getting into the spirit of it. It's almost like, you know, for those who like into Christmas and do all the lights, that's what it is for me. So
yeah, I think there's kind of a stigma, like in terms of some people say, oh, it's very childish to do this stuff, but I'm like, it's so damn fun.
It is, yeah. Who cares if it's childish? I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah, it's just.
I'll be a silly goose. And
I never got into Halloween as a kid. It was just because it really wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't. Not in Australia growing up.
No, definitely not. And so when I was an adult, it's like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone else thinks. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So it's
this time we're the boss.
Yeah, exactly. Why should everyone else get to do all these like cool things with Christmas? You know, and we have to put up with it. And so you know, I'm going to do the same thing but with Halloween.
Yeah.
It's just the difference is that, you know, some Halloween stuff scares the shit out of people, like younger kids and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I got a combination of like, you know, the fun, silly Halloween stuff, but then I got like the darks, you know, zombies and stuff like that as well, which I love.
Yeah.
So yeah, growing up, horror stuff in particular. What was the stuff that you were watching as a kid?
Definitely like probably the sci-fi Aliens. That was a nice little horror. I think it's called horror sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the horror aspect to that, but I guess there was probably more of a sci-fi element in there.
That was a big one. Texas
Chainsaw Massacre.
I would have been a bit older.
Leatherface.
Jason, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger. I remember the first time I saw Freddy Krueger, it scared the shit out of me. And it took me a while to kind of go, nah, I'm going to give it a go again. And then I loved it after that.
It's so, I actually miss being that scared and go, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah. The problem with like the modern horror stuff is that it's just gore oriented. Like it's all about just how much blood they can spill on the screen.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's not scary. That's just like, whatever. But the scary stuff is like the psychological element, and like, do you remember like what's that one in the 80s? The one with the ghosts and the spirits and stuff. Not paranormal activity. That's one of the later ones, but I'm talking about the really old one. Like, it's on the tip of my tongue as well. Like, starts with a P, maybe.
The Haunting.
No, it's
sorry. The
it's like it's got the TV. It's like a thing.
Oh, The Ring.
No, that one. This is like older, like in the 80s. It kind of, and I think a lot of those later ones were inspired by it. It's like with specters and ghosts and stuff like that, and the thing with the TV and this kid that's gets dragged into it.
Why is it so?
I can't remember the name of it now, but whatever it is, everyone's probably screaming at us, going, "Yes, this movie, you idiots!" Anyway, whatever it is, that kind of stuff where it's like more creepy kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That's the scary stuff.
Yeah, like The Exorcist or.
Well, The Exorcist, yeah, definitely. That's a scary movie for sure.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. I actually think Jaws scared the shit out of me when I saw it. I was like, oh God, there's a dead person. There's the hole in the ship, and then you see the body, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. A lot of John Carpenter stuff was really cool. A lot of John Williamson. I forget his name now. The guy who did like Scream and all that kind of stuff. I
like Hellraiser. Hellraiser's awesome.
Hellraiser's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long, long time though. Yeah. What about Chucky? You ever see Chucky?
Actually no. Or maybe I have. I can't remember. It's been such a long time ago.
Same.
I've seen so many like snippets of it, but it's really hard to. If I go and watch it again, I'll probably I remember this.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to not recognize that little Chucky doll with the red hair and the overalls, And
but isn't it funny how like you can't tell whether or not it was you've got some images in your head and you're trying to remember them. You can't tell if they're a dream, they were real in a memory, and or you just made it up in your head.
Yeah, it's probably a combination of all three.
Like you've seen a visual dream, you've made it up in your head, or you actually did watch it.
Yeah.
So
But I think for me, Freddy Krueger was definitely like the pinnacle, like of horror movies. Like I just got right into it, and got the whole series and box set, and was a big fan. I even remember seeing this is before like the newer 3D stuff came out in the movies. They did 3D movies back in the 90s where they had to wear those goofy glasses with the red.
Oh
yes,
I remember that.
They did one of the Freddy Krueger movies in 3D, and I remember we were like, I don't know how old we were, like 12 years old or something like that. We went to the movies to see it, and it was like, oh, this is cool, but it was only like, not the whole movie was in 3D. It was only like bits and pieces of it. Yeah. They hadn't worked out the technology yet at the time. So, whereas now you can actually go see, movies in full in 3D. Was that still a thing though in 3D movies?
3D movies, like with the ones that were only like, with Avatar.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it still does occasionally, but like it's not really that popular. I just don't know why. It was actually, I still would go.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed the 3D, even though it was kind of a bullshit markup on
it's a novelty,
I was still like, I'll see it in 3D. Like
I got so many of those glasses as well. Like we just piled them up. We have to see movie after movie with them.
And it's just a shame that they're gone, but a lot of the movies are actually, I think, shot with 3D cameras so that they could still do it, but they're just not.
Yeah. They just were utilizing that technology, but it just seems like that's disappeared now. Like I haven't heard much about it anymore.
They should really bring it back.
Maybe there's like if people just got over the novelty of it, Like, to be honest, I don't think you'd want to see every single movie in 3D.
No, not really. But I just like to go to the movies with the option occasionally.
Yeah.
So maybe like you have like one cinema where actually going to the cinemas is still pretty cool.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, the last movie that I think we saw together was the the last Resident Evil movie, which is
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Resident Evil.
That was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, and that one, and I'm not talking about like the Alice movies, like we know with the franchise. And all that stuff. I'm talking about the original, the last movie that came out, which was kind of low budget, kind of independent kind of style, but it stayed true to what the Resident Evil world was, and I'm a big fan of that because everything that they've seemed to be doing with Resident Evil, they've just been killing that franchise bit by bit over the years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like that last TV show they put on Netflix. Well, like it was an atrocious version of what they thought Resident Evil was all about.
I haven't seen it.
It's not worth going. I mean, you got to be a really huge obsessed fan to be of Resident Evil to watch it.
Sometimes, like, for example, I'm a huge Alien fan. So they say, I agree. 1 and 2, probably the best ones ever done. 3 wasn't my favorite. 4 was better. But then that's a controversial thing because everyone's like, oh, but 3 was better than 4 and 4 shouldn't exist. I'm like,
Well, it's all
it's
subjective,
okay.
yeah. What about the other ones, the Prometheus and the...
I did like them. I don't see them like... I actually like it being expanded on because I'm such a fan of it. I love seeing it, even though, like, like the Predator movies. I'm big on Predator.
I love
like,
Predator, yeah.
I just see the Predator getting killed, and I'm just like, come on, there's got to be one that he actually wins because there are so many, like... It's just silly just showing them dying all the time. They are badasses, and there are some that don't die, and they live to an old age.
That's a
It's
question
all in the law.
That's a question that comes up as well, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Predator versus Alien, who would actually win one-on-one?
Well, it's subjective. The predators fight the aliens as a trophy.
I guess the difference is the Predator has use of technology, whereas Alien is pretty much organic. Like it's just like they're a weapon in and of itself, whereas Predator's like they've got all these other things in as part of their arsenal, I guess. So to that respect, I think Predator would win because it's got so much other things attached to it. Whereas I think one-on-one, just on their own without anything else, I think Alien would probably win. Yeah.
Alien would win without technology, so you'd have to have some weaponry. Yeah, but they do like hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. As long as they've got their weapons, they're okay with that.
But I remember seeing the original Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was a kid. So good. Man, that when I saw those skinned bodies hanging from the trees, I was like, Jesus Christ. Yep. Like, it wasn't, well, it was scary, but it was just the first time I saw like really, really gruesome stuff. Yeah. Like, you know, and then the skulls, like you see him cleaning the skulls after, like
polishing it.
Yeah. I was like,
to put on his mantelpiece.
Yeah, like he was just collecting them. You know, essentially it was just, you know, like a trophy case of like just, you know, dead human bodies.
And then Predator 2, I didn't like that.
No, I didn't like Predator 2.
But the funny thing is, I find that some movies, as they get older, you start to like them more than you originally did.
Yeah.
And the newer ones, you kind of like, well, at least Predator 2 wasn't as like this, you know. So you like it more because it's more, you know, more to the original thing. So
I think a big part of why I kind of think the original Predator was better than all of the other ones was because Schwarzenegger, like he was just built for those kind of roles. And I just haven't seen anyone action style wise that could replicate the things that it's just his personality and the way he came across and stuff.
I think Stallone could have probably done something pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, Stallone would be the only other option I could see doing that same kind of thing. But like Predator 2, it was, what's his name? From
Danny Glover.
Yeah, Danny Glover. It's like, that's nothing. Like, you know, he's a completely different actor, you know, so it didn't make any sense to me.
But, I mean, there's a lot of things that people like saying, oh, the alien sucks. I'm like, yeah, but they're only sending all the newbies down to get killed. It wouldn't be fun. I don't know. I reckon it would be pretty cool seeing some expert just come down and slaughter the.
Well, wasn't Schwarzenegger the expert? I mean, he was like the ultimate. He's always playing the ultimate
like the
army
Predator, like an alien coming down, one of the best, and he's just.
Well, what ruined me for that franchise was in the second one, like you see multiple, like just hundreds of them at the end of the movie. Like, no, spoiler alert, you know, at the end of them you see them in the spaceship and there's like just a whole colony of them. And obviously you in your mind you always knew that anyway, but it's like it just sucked to see it. It's like that kind of took away the uniqueness of the first one where he was just by himself, you know.
I kind of thought it was kind of cool how they incorporated the pistol So from the one of the previous
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
And then
yeah.
in the most recent Predator movie, they really incorporated that.
Yeah, kind of going
into-
back to the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was the with the Native Americans with the primal type of predator, which
Yeah.
is I still think it's cool. Some people complain about it, but I'm like, it's still cool. It's still Predator.
Yeah.
Come on, let's like. How often do you get like franchises where they keep making movies? You know?
I heard there's an Easter egg in the latest movie where it gives you the indications that they've been hunting humans for thousands of years. Yeah.
Yep.
It makes sense because like then you that makes you understand the first one even more so. You know, I mean, he's coming down, gets dropped off on the planet. It's like this is what they've been doing for it's part of their whatever their lifestyle or whatever. So we're just basically animals to them.
Yeah.
So and that sort of ties into our UFO subject that we talked about in the last episode.
We always gravitate towards the aliens. Hey.
Well, Predator is an alien. That's
Yeah.
what he is, And then obviously the movie Aliens is all about aliens, So it's funny how the spaceships that they're flying in are not disc shaped.
Yeah, that's true. Like the Predator ships are pretty
Pretty elaborate, and like
pretty
human looks like
gnarly
human
looking.
spacecraft.
pretty gnarly, like a human. Sorry, they're pretty gnarly looking. Like they look like they glide through the air very easily, and you just see them. They're just like as if there's no air. Like they're just
gravity propelled.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
exactly what we were talking about.
exactly. Yeah. So,
That's a real thing, folks. By the way, like they've confirmed this. Don't sort of, all the comments that we've been getting about the UFO one. It's like this is legitimate.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You can deny it all you want, but like if the Pentagon's come out, I just watched the latest Joe Rogan podcast. I've been starting to get into it. By the time this goes up, I've already listened to the entire thing. But one of his guests is this guy named Ryan Graves, who talks about his experience with in the Nimitz case. I think it was the Nimitz one in 2014 or whatever it was, where he talks about his experiences seeing these things flying around and eyewitness accounts, and it's on radar and stuff. And this guy is like a decorated, military pilot. Like,
yeah.
why would he lie about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just amazing. Like all the people that are coming out now, and it's just yeah. But then we're getting back to like Predator and Alien. That's like just a different kind of alien, I guess, than the one we're sort of experiencing, I guess, a little bit. So
Yeah, I think that some of the franchise, like with the Halloween, I've almost watched. I kind of skipped one. I watched Halloween's End before Halloween Kills.
but there's a new one out now,
something. Yeah,
which people apparently this is the final one.
I was kind of disappointed.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't give me any spoilers or anything like
I
that.
won't, but I wasn't. I was a bit disappointed, but it was okay, I guess.
I think they kind of done too many of them, to be honest. I think
That's probably where it's led to my disappointment.
yeah, it's just like I didn't understand why they did the last one, because I thought that would have been surely it, and then I was really surprised when they did the other one. Like I'm really surprised Jamie Lee Curtis was on board for this latest one.
Yeah.
Even though she seemed pretty like excited about it and stuff, and was glad to see it end. In her words, this is the final one apparently, but I don't know. It surprised me that she did it again. So because I didn't know what else they could do in that. She's already died in the franchise, and then she's come back. You know what I mean? Like it didn't make any sense. Yeah, she died in one of the Halloween movies.
Oh.
Well, I guess it's up to debate, I guess, but apparently she died. So, yeah.
I have to revisit it because my memory's a bit hazy on this.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched the original ones for a long, long time either.
I've got all the Hellraisers, but
yeah.
gonna have to check them out again.
But as far as like the modern stuff, like I've been sort of, horror video games, for example, like going back to sort of Resident Evil. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I remember playing the first game when it first came out on PlayStation 1 back in 98, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or 97 or whatever it was. And just was blown away by like, oh man, you can do this in the video game. Like it's just combined like horror and action and stuff. And it was just, and that game still to this day scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those immersive interactive things where it's just like no matter how many times you play it, you will just be shit scared because you don't know what's around the corner, and you're gonna be like bitten by something, and then those gigantic spiders that just. I never had a big issue with spiders until that game, and then all of a sudden I just became, what do you call it? Like I have a phobia of spiders now. Certain spiders, not all spiders, but certain ones. Like that game ruined me for spiders. It's like, God damn it. So every time I interact with giant spiders in the game, I'm like, I'm sort of half close my eyes and I get my girlfriend to do the rest, you know, all that stuff. It's just complete chicken shit kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But it's weird because the video game thing and the movie thing, there's two different experiences because the video game, you're interacting with it. And so there's that level of intensity that you kind of feel like, you know, you feel. Whereas the movie, you can kind of just put yourself outside of that. You don't feel like you're a part of it, you know. So
actually, I remember playing the original Alien vs Predator games. It was so fun on interactive single player and stuff that have. Yeah. It's pretty much incorporated all the scare stuff that's in today's video games, which is now standard. But it was so much better when it was new and raw, and you never tried anything like this before. Yeah. The experience is you can't get that today. No, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You had to have been born then and experienced that, and it's never again.
It's like with a lot of things. I think some things are just you've got to be there to sort of really appreciate it. And if you were sort of there before it or a little after it, it's like you know, like I kind of feel that way with grunge music. Because grunge music in the 90s, I think is one of those things. If you're not a fan of it, chances are you probably weren't, you know, in that generation, that bracket of like, you know, the teenager sort of, you know, being sort of enamored by all that stuff. Yeah. I think if you were before that or after that, it's like, maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but I don't think you weren't part of that whole experience, you know. So, and I think there's a lot of things like that in life where it's like it's just the right time of, you know, in your life, you know, where it's like, you know, that perfect age to sort of get into it, you know. And every kid has that sort of thing, like whether it's now or it's 10 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it is, you know. Yeah. So everyone's got that one thing that's like, that was so much fun because I was that age, you know. Yeah. But if I went back to it now, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much, you know. Yeah. So, yeah. I think a lot of the horror stuff is tied into that as well. Like, I don't think if Freddy Krueger came out now and at my age,
it would have been scary.
It wouldn't be scary, and I also wouldn't appreciate it.
It'd probably be very silly.
It is silly. It's very campy. Yeah. But at the time, that's what it was. You know, that's what the campy horror stuff was a thing in the 80s.
Well, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre would have been still pretty good.
Yeah, today. I think so. It's pretty horrific. With, you know, I think Leatherface and the whole idea behind that movie was based on an actual
serial killer.
Yeah. Was it the Jeffrey Dahmer one, or was it something else?
No.
There's that documentary on Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix that everyone's being sort of, you know, talking about being offended and stuff.
I watched a couple of episodes, and I'm like, it's not interesting. Yeah. Like, it didn't, it just seems like, I don't know. It's just not my style.
Yeah, I never paid much attention to
I just don't like murder.
Actual real murder.
Yeah. Like,
no one likes murder.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Unless you're a serial killer, then you really enjoy it.
Yeah, but I just thought, all right, he's going to kill someone again and again and again and again. And I'm just like, it's boring.
But it's pretty horrific, like, what he did, though. Like, the things that he did and, you know, eating human flesh and you know, stuff like that, you know.
It's just, just didn't do anything for me.
I think it was more to do with, like, just the psychological aspect of, like, you know, what was the mindset of this guy? Like, why did he do the things that he did, you know? And obviously he was just a complete psycho. Yeah. You know.
But I find it's kind of a bit weird, but, you know, the family members, they're all upset about how Netflix has relived, you know, bringing up
because, Which I you know, I understand. Again, going back to that point of one of our episodes where we talked about being offended and stuff. Yeah. I mean, everyone's got that line, and for them, that line is, you know, because of the close proximity to their own experience. Yeah. Totally get that, but everyone else can enjoy, or not enjoy, but you know what I mean? Like, they can sort of appreciate that documentary in a different way.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think many people look at it like they wouldn't be as wealthy as they are now if that never happened.
But they get like a big payout and stuff or something?
I believe so, yeah. And
who would have paid them out?
I have no idea.
The government
They would have got heaps from the media, I'm sure.
Oh, I guess.
Exclusive interviews, that type of stuff. Books.
Yeah, but then if they're getting paid for like that kind of stuff, then they can't really argue about a movie coming out then, because like got paid to share their story or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's kind of like people saying, oh, a tragic event where, you're stranded on an island for so many days and then you survive, your friends all die, but then you become insanely wealthy because of that. It's kind of
look, and yeah, some people do that.
It's kind of weird though, isn't it? It's like
is.
you have to have people die and then you become rich. It's weird.
That's how inheritance works as well. Well, I think that's a good note to end things right there, I think.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so happy Halloween to everyone out there. And I guess we'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.